Today, we're about to learn about the invisible institution. Listen, you have to know where you come from so you can plot out where you want to go. A good place to start is the invisible institution. Now, what is the invisible institution, you may ask? During times of slavery, black people did not have a lot of privacy. So even when we worshiped, you might have got some time alone, but very often somebody was there overseeing and watching. And the preacher would put symbols and codes in the sermon. These codes and symbols might let you know where we meeting up at, or if we're gonna run, or just a place to kind of get away and have some time to themselves. I actually wrote about this in my book, Beyond Grit and Resilience, which is available in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. This is where you would the book should magically appear. Actually, here's a quote from said book. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the place where he's quoting himself. It reads, the black community created codes and secret meeting places where they could go pray and worship together in what would be called the invisible institution. Invisible institutions would eventually become praise houses, and then the very churches that housed civil rights revolutions would become the pillar in thousands of communities still to this day. For many, the black church continues to be a rally point for organizing, decision making, and just a place to hone your skills. Think about some of your favorite singers, right? They started singing in church. In my neighborhood, most of us were poor and weren't able to buy instruments. I know so many folks, a ton, that learned how to play instruments at church. To keep it real, I learned public speaking from my church. There wasn't a class or anything like that, but there was simply space and a bunch of opportunity. This isn't me trying to get you to sign on to any religion or anything like that. I'm simply stating the history of what this place was used for and how it's helped hone a lot of black skill. This stuff still happens today, whether it might be a black Christian church, it might be a mosque, or whatever the case is. These spaces still mean a lot to a lot of people. Now ask yourself, did you ever learn about the invisible institution when you were in school? If yes, God bless you. You should pull out a notepad, right? And you should handwrite that teacher or that school a letter and pour it out, baby. That is not a common affair. I suspect that the vast majority of folks watching this video did not learn about the invisible institution in traditional K-12 education. Let's change gears, right? We know about the invisible institution. It's important to know how brilliant our ancestors were in the face of crazy atrocity. The folks watching this, I don't know what you're struggling with right now. I don't know what you're downing yourself on, the thing that you're not doing because of fear. Fear is part of the process. You don't think that these people were fearful, that they were afraid when they were building out these codes and people were listening to these codes and acting on them? I mean, you can only imagine what would happen if they were discovered. And because there's 1 billion and 2 slave movies you actually get to go see. But here's the thing, your dreams should scare you. If your goals don't scare you in some way, form, or fashion, maybe you're not allowing your full dream to manifest itself. I'll be honest with you, right? I'm working on some expansive projects right now. Some of them scare me. They terrify me if I'm being honest. You prepare as much as you can, and then you just gotta trust what you've done. And that's not to say that you won't fail. You might still fail. But if you prepare as hard as you can, you can live with the results in a different way. So where are your invisible institutions? It doesn't have to be a church. Identify your learning ground. And guess what? It's okay if others don't understand the message. These are secret codes that are built for you and your understanding. Talked about this in one of the other videos, and sometimes you gotta do it alone. Sometimes you just gotta go and trust your understanding and your vision. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to the invisible institutions that help create me. We have a duty to carry on tradition. Now look, these institutions can look different. I actually got the same kind of love in my West Oakland Meltzer Boys Club. I learned a lot there. I've also gotten it with certain basketball coaches along the years I was trying to turn my peers and myself And to men, they just use basketball as the vehicle. It's very important and instrumental to my life. Here's one thing I do know. My schools were not getting it done. It was not any of the skills that you may see from me that you may be even a little bit impressed with, and maybe you're not impressed by anything I do, which is also completely fine. None of that stuff was built in schools. Hardly any of it, if I'm being quite honest. All I'm saying is put some faith back in us. Put some faith back in your people, because you come from something powerful. Learn your history. You have a duty to learn your history and then get to remixing and sampling, baby. Use us. Use it. And you are building up a new legacy for new people that will come after you so they can use. Drop the codes in there. Everybody don't need to understand it, but those that know. We come from greatness. Know it today and believe it. Y'all be smooth. I'm out.